everybody, and welcome to WTF Hammer Underworlds. So today I'm going to be doing a warband balancing video for the second warband of Season 2, which is the Thorns of the Briar Queen. I just posted their review video yesterday, where I looked at all their fighter cards, objective cards, and power cards, and came to draw the following conclusions about them. They are very strong at holding objective tokens, although they do lack faction-specific cards to take full advantage of this. They don't have faction-specific cards that really benefit them holding objective tokens, although they are very good at benefiting from universal cards that revolve around objective holding. They do, however, have a dangerous Inspire mechanic, seeing as they have to get right next to enemy fighters and be there at the beginning of their own activation in order to Inspire, although they do have some power cards to overcome this challenge. Next, they have good movement, especially considering that they can ignore obstacles and lethal hexes. They do good damage, they have good accuracy, and they have an amazing special ability with Varclav's push mechanic, which can result in them overwhelming opponents with physical force while simultaneously scoring passive glory. This warband is the king of the flex style, much more powerful than other warbands that excel in this area. Finally, they have a large variety of very powerful power cards, which allows them to perform feats that extend well beyond what other warbands are capable of. So with all this together, considering their powerful fighter cards as well, I had ranked this warband as an S. They are the top of the top tier. They're always very powerful, kind of a little bit too powerful, to be honest. So as a result of this, I'm going to be nerfing this warband in this balancing video. And as I always do in these balancing videos, I try to make the alterations as minor as possible so that if Games Workshop wanted to tweak any of the warbands in a way similar to what I'm suggesting, all they would have to do is provide some errata and print a few new faction-specific cards, and then they can make a lot of difference with regard to balancing. So I'm going to be starting by looking at errata, which is changes to the existing game rules that we can apply to the Thorns of a Briar Queen to help nerf them ever so slightly. Now, my first errata suggestion is actually going to seem a bit counterintuitive considering what I just said, but it's actually going to be to buff one of their objective cards, and that objective card is Take the City. So normally it's worth 1 glory point. It involves this warband holding all objectives in their territory or enemy territory. I'd recommend making it worth 2 glory points for the following reasons: that this warband does not have any very reliable hold objective cards, so it would give them a nice objective card that involves objective tokens, which they don't have right now. It would also play to this warband's strength, plus they're going to be nerfed in other ways, so I feel like I need to give them a little bit in the positive area. As far as nerfing goes, with regards to errata, my recommendation is actually to nerf 2 power cards by restricting them. And the 2 power cards I'd recommend restricting, which would add to the current restricted card, which is Sudden Appearance, would be Maddening Cackle and Howling Vortex. So this warband would have a total of 3 restricted cards. Maddening Cackle is a big one. I mean, it allows this warband to cause a fighter to become uninspired. Even if they haven't even been inspired yet, it removes the opportunity for them to potentially get inspired. And the only counter to this card is the universal card called Blazing Soul, which is about to rotate out. And I mean, Maddening Cackle is included in every Thorns of the Briar Queen deck, and it just cripples certain warbands. This card should be restricted. If they want to put it in their deck to cripple a warband, it should cost them something. And Howling Vortex, similar. I mean, I don't see this card played quite as much as Maddening Cackle, but it's a fairly easy to cast spell that can just push every enemy fighter in whatever direction you want. Stronger than Earthquake was. And I mean, it could just completely screw over warband's attempts to hold objective cards in the end phase. Like, I think of Chosen Axes, who might spend their entire round just trying to get on objective tokens, and then Briar Queen plays this one card, completely ruins their entire 4 activations worth of efforts. So justification here is really that these cards are just very powerful and would force the Thorns of the Briar Queen to make hard choices instead of having access to all these great options. So if they want to have these 3 restricted cards in their deck, well, they're not going to get any of those restricted universal cards that would also benefit them. And that pretty much does it for my nerfing of Thorns of the Briar Queen. So the positive end is that Take the City be worth 2 glory points as far as objective card errata is concerned. And then power card errata, I would just restrict Maddening Cackle and Howling Vortex because they just really deserve to be restricted. Now I'm going to be looking at new faction-specific cards. So clearly I'm not going to be doing any nerfing through faction-specific cards. The reason I'm proposing new faction-specific cards is just so that this warband can be play out of the box like all the new Beastgrave and Dreadfane warbands, and Season 4 warband will be play out of the box as well. So typically, warbands require 12 objective cards and 20 or more power cards in order to be in order to be valid. Briar Queen has only 10 objective cards, although they do have a valid power deck. My solution is to create 2 middle tier objective cards, just so that they can have a valid play out of the deck box. But have these cards really be just middle tier, middling cards that don't do much besides provide a little bit of variety to the Briar Queen, to the Thorns of the Briar Queen. So what are my recommendations for these new mid-tier objective cards? My first would just be an average end phase card that promotes some aggression, because aggression is always fun. And I would recommend an end phase version of What Armor, which can be called Spectral Incision. So this warband has a few units that have cleave. They even have an upgrade card that provides cleave. So instead of giving them a score immediately version of cleave, I would just give them a score in the end phase version of cleave, which could be score in an end phase of a friendly fighter's attack action with cleave succeeds in the previous phase. Justifications that would provide some easy end phase glory, but it wouldn't be anything exceptional. And finally, my second idea would similarly just be an average end phase card that promotes clustering and aggression, because this warband's very good at clustering with their Varklav movement mechanic. And my recommendation would be a faction-specific well-guarded, which can be called the Night Haunt Throng, in which you score this in an end phase, that being 1 glory point, if your leader is adjacent to 2 or more friendly fighters, which won't happen very often, but if you decide to go with a play style where you advance forward, this card could be scored that way. So I would encourage other units to join the Briar Queen in battle so that they don't just stay back, hold objectives while the Briar Queen just goes and rips ass. And it's also intended to be mediocre, because I'm not trying to make this warband any more powerful. I'm trying to give it some cards that are not useless, but that could allow it to be played out of the box. And that basically does it for my suggestions. So errata suggestions are as above. I've already described them. New faction-specific cards would be to give these guys 2 new objective cards that their deck would be valid, an end phase version of What Armor called Spectral Incision, and a faction-specific well-guarded, which could be called Night Haunt Throng. And that does it for my balancing video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, please comment below. Please like and subscribe if you like this video and would like me to make more balancing and review videos. And next week, I'm going to be looking at Zarabag's Gits.